Hello, hello. Welcome. We're on Facebook and YouTube through till 5 o'clock. My name's Andy B, and this is Studio One here at Pure247Radio. I am joined by 3, 2, 1, go.
Hello, it's me, Peter.
There's Peter. So Peter's with me. So we'll be back in just a minute. We've got a song playing right now on air. So we've got about just about 3.5 minutes or so thereabouts, and we'll come back for some tangents and chat, some chocolate and chatter. Some new stories, some new studies, hopefully. So we'll be back in just a moment for you. So for now, stick around. If you want to comment, you can do. If you want to tell me what you want to be thankful for today, that'd be brilliant. But for now, we'll come back shortly. We are coming, just fixing something. We're with you in a minute. Don't go away. But you can let us know on comments on Facebook and YouTube what you're thankful for today. Let us know what you're thankful for today. We are back. Fear not, we're here. Let me just go to that. There we go. There's Peter and me. Welcome to Tangents and Chat. Chocolate and Chatter.
Well, I think tangents and chocolate, hot chocolate kind of makes sense because I bring the hot chocolate, you bring the tangents.
So that's what we're doing today. You can let us know things you're thankful for, which we'll get to shortly, because it's Thankful Thursday, but on a Friday. What are you thankful for today? That's what we're considering and thinking about through the day, aren't we?
Yes, which is a good thing to do.
It is. Another minute of Lauren Daigle,
Yes.
which we can't play for you, because although we can, Facebook says we can't, even though they say we can. We're licensed for it. We're allowed to. But the forces of technology don't always agree with themselves.
Not balanced to the force in that kind of sense.
No, the force is not balanced in that context. Absolutely not.
Mm.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
30 seconds. We could sit here silently. It's fine. If you're still listening to your radio, that's okay.
Yeah.
But you won't hear me talking to you. Okay, right now.
Mm.
You know, it's their work.
Yep.
Busy times.
Yes, it is. Although plenty of new studies to look forward to, just by the way.
Raisin in 16 seconds.
I'd guess so.
We like a raisin.
Fascinating.
Yeah, that's fine. Lauren Daigle there with These Are the Days. We are live on Facebook and YouTube. I've still got a raisin left.
Oops.
Well,
Just
17 seconds is enough to finish a show, but not to eat a raisin. Peter, hello.
hello, Andy B.
You're here today, which is cool. So we're going to spend some time thinking about things we're thankful for, which is good.
Yes.
Not a nice bit of raisin.
Oh.
Anyway, it happens. It's not perfect. They're mass-produced, aren't they, really?
Yeah, that's a good
Well,
point.
not the raisins, but the raisin in the packet is mass-produced bit.
Yeah, although I'm never convinced by raisins, to be honest.
You're not a raisins fan?
Not really, because it's like they're just taken a grape and dried it out, or whatever it originally was.
No. We've done this before. No, it's not a dried-out grape.
Oh, what is it then?
I can't remember, but it's not that.
Well, it just never seems quite right. I don't know. It's like it just looks like something that's a grape that's been dried out.
What
That
is
was my
a raisin?
understanding.
We have actually answered this question before. It wasn't very exciting last time. Oh no, dried grape. I apologise.
I told you, and that's why I just like, why not just eat a grape when it's nice and juicy and fresh?
The process of making raisins involves harvesting grapes, which are then dried, either by the sun or through a mechanical process.
So basically, you just take some grapes, leave it in the sun, and then you sell it as raisins. That doesn't work for me.
Fair enough. It depends on the grape, I suppose.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, they're saying there's mechanical processes, which I'm guessing are more efficient or something.
Usually. Not necessarily better.
Maybe quicker.
Efficiency
perhaps.
isn't necessarily better.
That is a good point.
If it was, this would be a brilliant show. Right, Peter. So we're going to move on to things we're thankful for. We'll move on to news studies a little bit later. Do you have things to be thankful for today? Let's just start with a nice, simple question.
Yes, I've got things to be thankful for. There's always something
There's
to be
always
thankful
something.
for.
Did you hear Andy Godfrey's earlier?
I'm afraid I didn't quite catch that part.
Did you not listen? You just didn't bother to listen to that part. So Andy Godfrey said, let's pull the message back up again. A bit slow. Come on.
Technology. Yeah.
Come on.
I don't think talking to the computer will help it much, really.
Yeah.
Although,
Right, let's do it that way.
with all those talking to computer stuff, I'm sure might be able to help a computer by talking to it someday. I don't know.
There we go. Right. Andy Godfrey said, God is in control, and Mission Impossible was good, less important, but hey.
Well, it is good to enjoy a film from time to time, you know?
Yeah, it is true. We like films.
Yes.
Right, now, we have got lots of stuff to get on through today. Let's just do a quick little recap. So 1 week today, we will be finishing with the late lunch at 3 o'clock. We're then going to be driving to meet Oxfordshire's Adventure Plus, who will be in Yorkshire for the weekend. Just to be clear, that wasn't as clear as it could have been. So Oxfordshire's very wonderfully placed Adventure Plus will be driving all the way up to Yorkshire. We'll be meeting them there for a joint sponsored walk, which is very exciting. That's next Friday, so 1 week today. Today being the 23rd of May. Next Friday being the
30th, isn't it?
There we are. So 30th of May, the 31st of May, and the 1st of June with a walk with Adventure Plus. Now, I will be at the base where all the people are going off from, myself and you and Jojo. So we'll be doing some live radio as long as the internet is as good as we hope it could be. We'll be doing some live radio. If not, we'll just sit in a field and have a cup of tea. That sounds good to me. Yeah. Stephen D and Nathan, however, on the other hand, will actually be going on the walk, which I think it's about 24 miles.
And there's 3 mountains, but I forgot what the names were. 3
mountains, 24 miles. If you want to give them a little bit of encouragement, because we're raising funds for Pure, just so you know, it costs about 3,500-4,000 quid a month every single month to run what we do here. For you enjoying the radio, the magazine, that's the cost to us, just to make it happen. Kind of keeping the lights on.
Yeah,
that's about all that covers. So we're raising funds towards that because we want to keep it free for you. So the magazine online is always free. The radio is always freely available. There's a printed version of the magazine. If you buy that, that helps us keep the lights on as well. So 1 week today we'll be driving out, which means we finish with the late lunch at 3 o'clock. We then drive across. So there'll be no Get Your Home show next week. There'll be no weekend wind down next week. And next Sunday, a week on Sunday, there'll be no Family Focus or Endurance because we're hoping to be providing you with some live radio.
Yes.
That's the plan, okay? So just a little bit of a heads up if you're thinking what's going on, it's all a bit crazy. Yes, it actually is pretty crazy, but in a really, really good way.
Crazy in an organised, planned kind of way.
Hello to Dan Bellamy, who's just said, what's the difference between a raisin and a sultana? Well, I'm not exactly well versed in these things, but I do know a search engine that is, which is very helpful. So raisins versus sultanas, what is the difference? So raisins we've already established are dried grapes.
Yes.
I don't think it matters on the type of grape.
I guess not, although, well, I don't know, would there be a different kind of raisin if it was a different kind of grape?
I don't know. I don't think so. Sultan. Oh, there we go. Yeah. So sultanas are made specifically from green seedless grapes.
Oh, okay.
So sultanas come from green grapes. Raisins come from, I'm guessing, black grapes.
That would make sense.
Well, not that many colours of it. It says green and there's black in there.
That does
yeah, there we are.
That does seem to make sense because a raisin is kind of a red colour, thereabouts, and a sultana, if I recall correctly, is much more pale, which is fitting with a, a white grape?
Yeah.
Yeah. Although I always want to say green because it looks more of a green colour.
Yeah, interesting though. I wouldn't put raisins in a curry, but I definitely would like to put sultanas in.
That does seem to work, actually.
They're gorgeous. We don't, because there are some members of our family who they're not sultana friendly, like a grape. And now we can say, but you do like a sultana because a sultana is a grape. It's just a green grape.
Yeah.
There we are. You see, every day is a learning day, including on Pure 24/7 Radio. Things to learn, like not eating raisins.
Yes, and then it takes longer than 17 seconds to eat a raisin, apparently, as we have found out. In a sense, doing our own new studies here.
Dan's now saying, okay, so what's the difference with a currant?
Oh, yeah, I'm not sure, actually. I'm guessing perhaps that's another type of grape?
Oh, I don't know. Here we go.
Originally?
You see, we got a search engine for everything.
Yeah.
Hang on, let me go back a page. Yeah, wait for it to load up. So raisins, sultanas, and currants, all types of grape.
Oh, okay.
But it's the grape that's used that ends up with either a sultana with a green grape, a raisin is a black grape, and a currant. See, what's a currant? They're a very specific type of grape species, and it's not a raisin from a small grape, because currants are quite small, aren't they? It's a very particular type. They're dried for 3 weeks, and currants are the sweetest. See, I always think of currants in cake. I wouldn't put a raisin in a cake, that's just weird. But I would put a currant in a cake, and I'd put a sultana in a curry. But I wouldn't put a curry in a cake, because that wouldn't work.
That very much wouldn't work, would it?
There's a little helpful summary. Raisins, large dried grapes with a soft, wrinkly texture and naturally sweet taste. Sultanas, smaller, golden dried grapes. Golden?
Gold. That sultanas. That sounds
with a
right.
softer, more delicate texture.
Okay.
And currants, tiny, dark, dried grapes with an intense, sweet, tangy flavour, which is why they're quite good in the cake because you get the sort of bittersweet thing.
Sort of like salted caramel.
Yeah, I guess.
Kind of.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you are, Dan. You see, every day's a learning day.
Heard it first.
Or a day to post something into a search engine and see what it tells me. Which is nearly the same thing.
Sort of.
Hey, look, I remember a teacher once, I was asking a teacher something in a primary school, and I said, can you just explain this thing that you're asking my child to do? And she said, do you know what? I don't really understand it. I had to Google it. Her words, not mine. I had to Google it, and they didn't teach it when I finished university last year. It's
Wow.
just come in.
Oh, that does sound quite annoying. You get a degree, and then when you actually start enacting your degree, you actually find out you've got some information that's old.
Yes.
That does seem a bit annoying.
So she just finished, so she'd been in NQT, is it a year or 2 years? I forgot. It was very, very recent.
Wow.
And like she said, so I finished my degree and found out that basically they're teaching me new stuff that I've got to teach your kids.
That, I guess, is kind of like life, isn't it? Well, sort of like driving. You get your driver's license. As soon as you get your driver's license, there's a new regulation or something.
I would say not quite so much.
Oh, okay.
No, the problem with driving is there is the highway code in the United Kingdom. I don't know about other nations, so I can't comment. But in the UK, we have the highway code, which is a brilliant little book, and it has all the rules, and it helps us standardise things. Except for local road planning persons who decided that the highway code that everybody follows, do you know what? We like the highway code, but you know, we can do it even better. I remember driving through Shrewsbury city centre for the very first time, and somebody, I don't know who, but from the local planning authority or the road or the highways or whatever it was, took the highway code and clearly thought, nah, I can do better. And they redid all of the roundabouts so that all the priorities for what lane you're supposed to be in made absolutely no sense. And I was in the correct lane, according to the highway code. I was sitting in the correct lane and realised I was not in the correct lane. Heavy traffic, tiny, stupid little white lines, which you can't read unless there's no traffic. And it made no sense. And I was in the wrong lane. Everyone's beeping at me. There's another roundabout recently. I'm not going to say where this one is, but I drove through it correctly. Everyone's beeping at me. Now, the problem is there is not a single white mark on the road. But it would appear that the local individuals who live around that area have decided that left-hand lane, left turn only, middle lane, straight on, right-hand lane, any one of 3 other exits. Here's the problem with that theory. The paint doesn't say anything, which does annoy me slightly. Read the highway code, people. It'll tell you how to drive. It really, really will.
Yeah, that's kind of common in the UK. I think I had one thing. There's a bit of roadworks done. Like the tiniest, I think they're just adding another lane somewhere or a bit of pavement. And it cost them a couple £1 million and took them a couple of years to make it. Was it there?
Cambridge in Cambridgeshire put in a special roundabout for cyclists.
Oh, that was it.
Wasn't it like 50 million quid or something?
It was
many,
shocking.
many, many tens of millions of pounds for basically someone spilling a can of paint on the floor.
Pretty much.
We had to design that. What? Really?
And I think after making it, they actually asked for some more money to do it. I heard.
I think I remember that. That builder was laughing his way to the bank. I remember that one now quite clearly. And now Dan's also said, talking of fruit, it wasn't the apple that caused the fall. Well, no, it wasn't the apple. It was the fruit. And we don't know what the fruit is. You see?
Oh, yes. Oh, I see what you mean. I was thinking
well, everyone talks about the apple that Eve ate. But the Bible doesn't say that.
Well, I suppose you can kind of rule out some fruits because, she bit into it. So it wasn't like a little grape.
How do you know?
Well, does it not kind of say that?
Well, she just ate the fruit of the tree of knowledge, of good and evil.
I thought
it's just the fruit.
That's...
So you mean you can argue that it could be a grape? We don't know. It could be a raisin. If it's sunny, you see your grapes hanging there, gets a bit dehydrated because the tree's not very happy or whatever. Maybe you got a raisin.
Possibly.
I don't know. You don't know the truth. But yes, it's a good point. It wasn't the apple, Dan. You're absolutely right. It's because it wasn't an apple. It was just a piece of fruit. We don't know what fruit.
But then again, it could have been an apple. We don't know.
Speaking of apples, did you listen to Dr. Richard Scott, GP, talking about apples recently?
I think I heard that one. Yes.
Yeah, it was genuinely fascinating. Every topic I've done with Richard, I come away thinking, I never knew that. That's fascinating. So apples have got acid in them, like a lemon or an orange. Now we think of lemon and orange, of course, citric fruit. Citric acid, very strong. You can power clocks with a lemon. You can clean your microwave with a lemon. Very strong acid. However, an apple also has acid. So the advice and guidelines from Richard Scott, the man, the doctor, is don't have more than 2 a day.
I never would have guessed that, really. I mean, I always thought you don't need to have that many apples a day. But I thought, well, I'm guessing the more fruit you have, the healthier you'll be in a sense.
Yes, but no.
Which...
yes, in theory, but no in practice. If you have more than 2 apples, you're adding more acid into your stomach. So Richard's advice is this: have maybe 1, maximum 2 apples a day. And even better if you have an apple at night, not just before you go to bed, but an apple in the evening, because it works better with your stomach.
That is actually really interesting.
It's actually true.
Yes.
It's really, really true. And I loved that one. It was fascinating. So that's on YouTube from, I think, 3 weeks ago or something, one of our chats. But just learning that apples, too many apples, it's not so good. And as Richard always says, everything in moderation.
Yes. Well, it's like too much of anything is going to kind of be bad for you, isn't it?
Yeah.
So too much apple is going to be bad for you.
Too much water. People have drowned before drinking water, which is... right, let's go on to give things we're thankful for so we can get on to the new studies. Give me 3 things you're thankful for, Peter. We will, as ever, keep this very, very simple. You will have 3 things to be thankful for. I'm going to come up with 3 things that I'm thankful for. We will go from you to me to you to me to you to me, and then we'll have 100% and 6.
Oh, okay.
It's dead simple.
Well, we alternating, I think, would be a simple way to put that, yes.
We can say alternating. I mean, fancy words, but that's fine.
So, I suppose one thing of the 3 things I'm thankful for, I guess actually, I mean, I've been saying about the weather quite often.
This is your first thing.
Yes.
Just checking.
I've been saying recently, grateful for the weather. But to be honest, I'm very much enjoying it, all the different flowers coming out and how green the grass now is much greener on the other side of winter, I would say.
I think on the side of winter, practically in summer, you realise that. You sort of skipped over the spring part.
Yeah, it seems to go really quickly spring this year.
You bounced over the spring, didn't you?
Yes.
Dad puns here, no problem whatsoever. So that's your first thing.
Yeah, and we can bounce back after that joke.
That's fine. Indeed. I like the one spring is around the corner, the little picture with a spring just around a corner of a building. I don't know, it tickles me. I like those sorts of things. I like Far Side, the pictures, which none of my family do. They all go, huh? But I think they're hilarious. I like Far Side. I chuckle away to myself. And sometimes I even read the book. So first thing I'm thankful for, an amazing day, just fabulous at Christians Against Poverty in Bradford. Thank you to Joe Beardsley and all the team. We met so many lovely people doing such an amazing job helping people who are in debt find hope, find peace, and for many of them as well, they will probably go on to find faith, which is the ultimate goal for everybody at Christians Against Poverty. Jesus is what makes them tick, and yesterday was fabulous. I felt joy, hope, and peace just being in the building, not talking to anybody, just wandering around. It's amazing. Properly tangible, quantifiable stuff. You can feel it. It was brilliant. Absolutely adored that visit yesterday. 13 interviews. Excuse me. 13 interviews. 5 hours. We will get those interviews cut up and then back out on the radio probably the week after next, I should think, because we've got a busy week coming up ahead.
Yes.
Magazine is coming closer to being issued, and also on top of the magazine coming out, then of course next weekend we're at Oxfordshire's Adventure Plus's 3 Peaks Yorkshire Walk.
Yeah, in a sense, the people from Oxford will be going up north.
Yes.
In a way, yes, up to Yorkshire.
We ain't going up north, we're going west.
Well, I can never remember which order it is without saying the little rhyme. I always have to think it in my head to know what direction.
Eat shredded wheat.
Yes, and I can never remember.
Which is really sad because it's quite a good breakfast cereal as it goes.
Mm-hmm.
Right, I've done 1, you've done 1. That's 1 of your 3, 1 of my 3, which is 2 of our 6, which is 33%.
Oh,
so it's your go.
Okay. Yes, I think that adds up. Okay. Right. So the second thing that I am thankful for, I am thankful actually that since this last week I have been able to keep on top of the washing. And last I checked, the washing basket was pretty much empty, apart from one item of clothing that got put in, which was
You
annoying.
Sure.
Well, last I checked, it was empty.
You just don't know. You just don't know.
I'm having doubts now.
Washing baskets. The thing about a washing basket is you can empty the washing basket, and you don't have to put any washing in the basket for washing to appear. It's a miracle of the modern day of science and wonder.
Something like that.
It really is. Right, what am I thankful for? I'm thankful for this time today because all through yesterday, I was really loving what I was doing. It's quite tiring doing live radio. I absolutely adore doing it, by the way. I finished tired with a happy smile.
That is
You
always
can be
good.
bad tired and good tired. Do you know what I mean? You can have both of those. It was definitely a good tired.
Sort of like a tired but relaxed kind of a tired.
A satisfied. It's like
Satisfied.
I've earned my tiredness.
Yeah, that's a
It's
good
not
way of
just a bad
explaining it.
sleep. It's not just because I've, had to work hard at something. I actually earned my tiredness. It's a good reward for a good day. So that's what I'm thankful for. And just coming back to the studio. I'm back in my little studio and I'm very happy. Missing all the lovely people at CAP, but happy.
Yeah, that is a good one. So now it's my third thank you.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Which will be 100% of yours and not 100% of our collective amount.
Yes.
This is
something
so
like
very simple. I'm not sure anybody would get confused.
that. You wonder, don't you? Anyways, the third thing that I am thankful for, I would say, I'm just thinking actually, there's plenty of things to be thankful for. I'd say I'm thankful actually for this hot chocolate section with some chat with Andy B.
Fair
And
enough.
I think I'm thankful that I'm getting my head around Andy B's tangents. I am.
Mhm.
I'm indeed.
It's a good job, really, because I have to work around yours. My third thing that I am thankful for today. What am I thankful for? I'm not struggling to know. I'm honest. There are so many things to be thankful for right now. Okay, here's what I'm going to go for. So Jojo recently said, Andy, it's time your M&M machine was refilled. So I've got this really cool M&M machine, and you put in M&Ms. It's got a little M&M man that goes on the top to keep them in, and then you can turn the little wheel at the front, and they fall out one at a time from the bottom. Now, it's much easier to open the packet of M&Ms, pour them into your hand, and stuff them in your face. However, it's a lot more fun to turn the little wheel and get them out one at a time.
It is.
It's a lot more fun. You get the noise, you get the rattle, the thing of it falling down, and is it going to drop on the floor because it's a bit of a cheeky one and it's going to go flying over the lip at the. It's very exciting.
Mhm. And actually, you can put a coin into it as well.
You can, and the coin then falls to the bottom.
Mhm.
No one does that.
Yeah, but the thing is though, it's not like you have to put the coin in to get the M&M. You just turn the little handle thingy,
Or take the lid off and tip it upside down.
or you can do that. And I suppose you could try
Which
and
is
put
boring.
a padlock or something.
I saw somebody. They had a bottle of milk and it kept on being stolen. People using their milk. So they came up with these ever more ingenious and complicated solutions to stop people nicking the milk, including putting like a metal cover on the top. All I could think of was turn it upside down, stab the bottom, and you got a hole for the milk.
Oh, wait, so is this like the
This
milk
is a
that gets
plastic
delivered?
bottle of milk.
Oh, okay.
In like a shared, like an office fridge or something.
Oh,
You know,
right.
everyone puts their little bottle of milk or their can of drink or whatever. And somebody kept on having their milk taken a little bit at a time.
Oh.
And they got fed up. So they put a special, like, I think a metal, like, padlock thing going on the top. But it's plastic, right? You just stick a hole in the bottom and you can get milk.
What you could do though, is perhaps freak people out. Say it's like a health drink. Put that on it on the side of something.
There are some sinister things that you can do to prevent that sort of thing from ever happening. Right, we're going to play music and come back in just a moment. We've done our 3 for 3 each, which makes 6, or 100% of our 3 for 3s, one after the other, makes 6, makes 100%. Fine.
Something like that.
That's done. So we'll have a piece of music from the Zootons, and then we'll come back in just a moment, and we'll look at some new studies. Have we got some?
We have got
First
plenty of new
question.
studies.
We've got some new studies. Cool. Right, here's the Zootons. We'll be back in about 4 minutes' time. And to you lovely people on Facebook and YouTube, we'll be back in a moment. We're just going to have a quick break. We'll come back and do new studies in just a moment. Don't go away. And we are back.
Yes, we are.
Right, new studies. Have you got some?
I have got quite a few new studies.
In my defence, today is a very, very, very busy day.
Yes.
So we've got to get some stuff printed because the lovely people at Kingdom Print are going to help us get some stuff sorted. So we've got a couple of banners for the weekend coming up because we've got no pull-up banner for the magazine yet. That's about to be rectified. So thank you to Rachel and Andy in Kingdom Print. And the other thing is we need another banner for Project 7.
Our lips are sealed in that
including
regard.
some flyers. No, we're not going to reveal that. We will be revealing what Project 7 is for next year. It'll be 2026 event, and we'll be declaring what that is in a week's time at Adventure Plus on the Saturday. So if you're thinking, do you know, I think I know what Project 7 is, you won't get any clues or hints or anything from us. However, we know what it is. The logo for it, Peter, if I just go to your image just a moment, if you don't move it, but if you point to the Pure Media Family logo, okay, just underneath that, where we're sort of starting to curl up just a little bit, it's curling up because underneath that is the logo for the new thing that we're doing.
Yeah, it's curling up because that little logo is dying to be seen.
It is dying to be seen. Now, we're not going to stumble into saying what that is, but Project 7 will be revealed 1 week tomorrow in Yorkshire.
Mm-hmm.
Only because we're in Yorkshire, and John said, why didn't you announce what your project's going to be, Andy B, at our event? That'll be exciting. So we've got a banner that's been made for it, a banner for the magazine as well, and also we've got some flyers.
Yes.
Some little leaflets. So that'll be good. So we'll be announcing that for the first time next weekend, which is great. Now, Peter, new studies. What have we got?
Okay, so you want to start with a new study then?
Yeah.
Okay, so these are sort of the two top new studies that I found. I think these are the top two. So there's one about dogs.
Can I interrupt you really quickly?
Okay.
Not my normal interruption. Things you're thankful for. Joe's just got in touch and said bank holiday weekends.
Oh, yes, that's something
Things to be thankful for. Bank holiday weekends. That's worth interrupting. Yes, bank holiday. If you're not in the UK and you're thinking, do the British ever work? Well, yeah, sometimes. But we also have lots of bank holidays. And although you might think, that's a bit weird, you want them really. So it's a national holiday. Only we have quite a lot.
Yes, one or two a year. In fact, more than one or two.
So I'm with Jojo on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Things to be thankful for bank holiday weekends. Back to you, what you were saying, Peter.
Okay, so I've got two new studies, the sort of top two of the four that I've found. And I was wondering if you wanted to choose between these two. So I got one to do with dogs apparently being more sociable than their owners, and one saying that men make more of a carbon footprint than women, apparently.
Well, I'd like to do both, but let's do the dogs first.
Dogs, okay. The dogs.
Go on.
Okay.
Let's go there.
So this one is basically saying that the dog is more sociable than its owner. So there was some research done with people, the owner's thoughts on their dogs, and a lot of people think that their dog, or I guess their pet in general, seems to have social groups. So it has its best furry friend, a best doggy friend, as it were, and it will have dog groups in a way. Dogs that it will hang out perhaps with more than other dogs that it meets.
I mean, dogs definitely have a pecking order. There's always the alpha dog.
Yeah.
You know, you can see a pack of dogs or a group of dogs. In fact, there was one the other day, and it was in response to people saying that there is no such thing as a pecking order in dogs. They all see each other equally, and it's all lovely and fine. And, well, it is all fine, but there's definitely a pecking order. Because these dogs were fighting and scrapping, and then this scruffy white dog walks in, not even the biggest, most fierce-looking dog, clearly the alpha dog, because as it came in, all these scrapping dogs suddenly stopped, heads down.
Yeah.
Now, that's a sign of submission to a dominant thing, the dog, the alpha dog. So, yes, there's definitely a pecking order. Social groupings, yeah, I mean, I would say so. Well, we had two dogs, and they got on very well with each other. If they met dogs who were also happy together, they wouldn't necessarily get on. There was a little bit of, friction. Usually, you leave them get on with it, they'll sort it out. But, it's all right. Yeah, it's definitely a pecking order. So I can go with that.
Yes, it's kind of saying that dogs socialize, and so I guess if there is a dog group, as it were, you might have one that suddenly becomes the sort of alpha. Although I'm doubting that a Chihuahua would be the alpha amongst, I don't know, some greyhounds or something like that.
I'm not sure a Chihuahua would make much of an alpha dog.
Yeah.
Unless it's with similarly tiny dogs.
Not that.
Although if you ever
smaller.
meet a small dog, you do have to think, Does this dog know it's small? 'Cause-
Well, it's one of those things, though. Whenever you see a big dog, you tend to train them more because if a big dog jumps at someone, you're probably going to fall over. But if a chihuahua jumps at you, you're probably going to think, oh, I think I just got hit by a fly. You're not going to realise that there's a dog that just jumped at you.
No, I think you're quite right. On bank holidays, Dan Rouse, hello, Mr. Community Dan, awesomeness of pure brunchland. You can be thankful that you're in England because it's not a full bank holiday in Scotland. Schools will still be open.
Oh, okay.
I thought bank holidays was like the whole country.
Well, apparently not then, I guess.
Every day is a learning day. I did not know that Scotland does not have the same days of bank holidays as England. I thought they were the same days.
That's what I assumed. I thought it was a national
Every day is a learning day.
Every day is a learning day, yes.
One question, Dan. You say it's not a full bank holiday in Scotland. Is it a partial bank holiday in Scotland?
So,
or do you mean it's not a full bank holiday because Scotland isn't having a day off on Monday?
or is that like...
Genuinely interested.
Yeah, I am actually.
Is there some parts of Scotland shut down for this? I'm genuinely fascinated now.
Well, I suppose it's not like every business is going to be shut during bank holiday. I know the police probably wouldn't stop, or the military for that matter. They'd probably work even if it's a bank holiday. But I'm pretty sure banks would close on a bank holiday, which I think that's where it originally stems from, isn't it? Yep. Bank holidays, the bank having a day off on a Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
I think the banks will be closed because they're linked to England, which is what you were just questioning.
Yeah. So, yeah. So it's not all of Scotland takes days off on bank holidays then?
Community Dan's still working. That man works tirelessly for everybody. He's a good man. So yes, banks will be closed in Scotland because they're linked to England, but schools are open.
Okay.
So as long as schools don't have to buy any food for the children for lunch, it's all good.
Yeah. Okay.
Although I don't think many schools pay cash for lunches anymore.
If
they ever did.
Not. I don't know how that
I don't think so. Oh, we're 50p short. No, can't have the kids being fed. You're 50p short. Not gonna happen. No, I think they have better ways.
Probably.
And he's still working. Good man, Dan. You're a good lad. You keep working away. Do you want to do more on that study?
Well, basically it's just about dogs socializing, possibly more than their owners. But I was just thinking though, a dog can't say the wrong thing in a conversation. So,
well, yes, in words.
In words.
But they can growl at the wrong dog.
Yeah, especially a bigger dog.
Which is a language. Language is just the communicating feelings, thoughts, ideas. So a growling dog is speaking, but not necessarily with a vocabulary that we can understand.
Well, I suppose it's like birds. They have an emergency song in a sense of there's a bird of prey around.
There were some little birds the other day on top of a local farm building near to us, and a crow came by. And as it came past, these birds, I didn't even know the birds were there. Little like blue tits and chaffinches, that sort of side. They all started sort of flying at the crow, and it was getting more annoyed, and eventually it was circling. And obviously there's some nests and some eggs. I have to assume that. But eventually these birds made such a racket and kept on like bombing at this crow. It obviously got fed up and just flew off.
It's like this little dog fight in the air between the birds.
It was a bit of a dog fight.
Yeah.
So Dan says the banks are closed because they're linked to England. But that gets me even more confused because the banks in England and the banks in Scotland might be in the United Kingdom or Great Britain, but aren't the banks all kind of joined all around the world? So does that mean every country's banks are closed on Monday? I expect not.
This is getting a bit... I don't know, because... no, I don't know. I don't know. Who knew that bank holiday Mondays could be so confusing?
I don't know. I don't know. There's a bit of a delay on Facebook, I think, so you may not get that joke for another 5 minutes. Okay. Well, you'll have had it by the time you've heard this bit, but if you're watching Facebook and listening to this, then it'll be confusing. It's a huge delay. Nothing I can do about it. Just the way it is. Right. Okay. Have you finished that new study?
I think so. There are plenty more new studies if you want them, though.
No, that's fine. I've just got some things to be thankful for from Dan.
Okie doke.
Which I wanted to come to. He's thankful that schools are open on Monday. Oh, no, sorry, not quite. Meanwhile, I'll be thankful, so it says Dan, a good drive to visit an amazing client project today with the sun shining beautifully. Drives are always good with beautiful sunshine. You don't want it directly at your head, or in the UK, because we drive on the correct side of the road, you don't want the sun on your right, because that's quite blinding, because you're sitting on the correct side of the vehicle on the right.
Yes.
Yes.
You're on the right-hand side. You're on the right side of the road, which is the left.
Yes, you're correctly on the right-hand side of the road, which is on the left, but on the right, which is good.
What's the same like if you say in America?
Which is right.
But it's the same in America, because if you say the wheel in America is on the right side, it's on the left. So
Yeah.
it's confusing on whatever way you look at it.
I know the Americans, bless them. I mean, they got a few cars, I suppose they've got a point, but we drive on the correct side. The Australians have got it sorted.
Yes.
They use the correct side too. Number 2 says, Dan, a weekend with no work meetings.
Ooh, that's
Woohoo!
good.
No work meetings is a good thing
Yeah.
anytime, unless it's ones you want to do. I suppose in a sense, you see, CAP for us yesterday was work. We did there, it was our job to do that. But it wasn't really anything I would say was work because it was too much like fun. It was too enjoyable. Radio always is.
Yes.
Number 3 from Dan, the sunshine. Things to be thankful for: the sunshine while it lasts. Rain starts tomorrow for a week or so.
Oh, okay. Make the most of the sun whilst it's out, I guess.
The thing is, though, Dan, if you didn't have all that rain, you wouldn't have the beautiful green, luscious countryside and vegetation. So the rain, whilst making drying, washing a little bit difficult, yeah, we get that.
Mm.
Dan fears he's led us down a tangent.
Well, I don't think I'd need much help there, Dan.
No, I don't think he does either, Dan, because Peter does it all by himself. Right, have you got another new study for us, Peter?
Yes, I have. Do you want to hear about carbon footprint?
Carbon footprint. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm fascinated where this one's going to go, I'll be honest.
Well, actually, part of it's kind of amusing, but I always get confused, though, with the word carbon, because technically, every time we breathe out, we're breathing out carbon dioxide.
Yes, which trees need, which give us oxygen so we don't die. Yeah.
A very nice little
Basics
cycle
of
there.
photosynthesis in part there.
Yes, but also cars create carbon dioxide whilst burning stuff.
Yeah, and other things,
And,
yes.
and well, the problem is, and plus other things.
Mm-hmm.
But this study, I'm guessing, it's just carbon in general, so neither good nor bad, I guess.
Okay.
So it's basically saying that men create more carbon dioxide.
Is this like suggesting that men fart? Is this really where we're going with this study today?
Only
Because
part,
men have more flatulence.
only partly. That's
Because that's not carbon. That's methane. Just saying.
that is part of the new study. Apparently, men relieve themselves in that way more than women, so they create more carbon
Yeah, but
in
the
that
thing
sense.
is, it's not that women aren't producing natural gases; they just hide it.
Okay. Let's just skip over that part, shall we? Let's
The
return.
human body processes stuff.
Yes.
The stuff that's processed gets put into nutrients that we can absorb, and then there's waste products. And those waste products are solid or gaseous or liquid. Now, the liquid we eat out, that's one of those things. But then there's the solid stuff, which we don't want to talk about. And then there's the gas, which is a natural byproduct. If you get some meat and stick it in some acid, it's going to start to dissolve. And it's going to get a little bit warm, and there's gas is going to come out. That happens. Doesn't matter what gender. If you're male or female, you're going to produce gas. You just are.
Yes.
It's a basic biological fact.
I think we should move away.
Just saying.
I think we should move away from farts, to be honest.
I think so. Yes, because they smell. Carry on.
Okay, so but the other thing is,
We're really talking about breaking wind on live radio around the world.
well, I was only
I
gonna,
can't believe you took us there.
I was only gonna say that's part of the story. That's only a little part. The main part, though,
It
is
was the obvious part, and I haven't read the story. I knew exactly where this was going to go.
but the main part, though, is also apparently jobs. So I guess there are probably more men in the army, like in the navy, with
Yeah,
big
okay.
ships.
Yeah, yeah.
So in a sense, that would make sense. A lot of jobs, a lot more driving, I guess, for men would make for more carbon smells. But the other thing is, apparently, it's more common to find a guy driving by himself than a woman. I don't quite understand that, but apparently that is true. So someone will be on their own
I
creating
would
that.
say it's probably a stereotype. It's probably a fairly accurate one. But guys are more likely to drive to their place of employment because women have babies, then they're at home, they're doing less driving. For example, trucking is still very much male dominated. When I was driving trucks first in 96, 97, my first time driving trucks, and female truck drivers were very, very rare. And there's lots of reasons for that. It's a very, very physically demanding job. Now, that's changed. One of the most important changes, because I was chatting to a female driver, she said it was a nightmare to try and find a truck she could physically drive because she was quite small, quite short. So most of the trucks that she got in, she couldn't reach the pedals or the seat over the steering wheel because they were designed for big guys. So she said one of the problems was finding trucks that had a seat that had enough adjustment that she could drive. She was a really good trucker. But it was a fascinating conversation. That was one of the obstacles for her. As truck design got better, for me watching that over 10, 15 years, truck design got better. Seats had more adjustment. They could go lower or higher. Steering wheels moved better. And that was a much bigger obstacle out of the way for a lot of women who wanted to drive trucks. And then you have the other thing of things like curtains, which I've moved curtains. And sometimes the only way of moving a 40-foot trailer curtain is nothing more than grunt and weight. There's no finesse. There's no gentleness. You just keep tugging until the stupid thing moves. Sometimes 2 or 3 of you, if you have a gust of wind. So there are some obstacles. And since women are, generally speaking, a little bit smaller, a little bit weaker than men are, it was an obstacle. But with modern technology getting better, we had more women entering the field. And, very exciting, I met a disabled trucker. Lovely chap. He had a crane that lifted him in and out of the truck. All of his like air lines and electrical lines were put underneath the trailer. So he wheeled his wheelchair under the trailer behind the tractor unit so he could plug in stuff. And it was brilliant. But again, modern technology opens up the doors to more people doing something. Trucking, absolutely critical for the infrastructure of the entire globe. Don't care what anybody says. But coming back to your story, I do wonder whether part of that carbon emission is things like trucking, which would generally have men driving, van drivers for deliveries, more men than women. I don't often see that many women who are driving delivery vans. Met plenty, but it's definitely more men than women. So from that perspective alone, yeah, I would say it was much more likely to see men having a higher carbon emission.
Plus, also, men seem to fart more, apparently. According to
Well,
the
there's
story.
the whole flatulence breaking wind thing, which let's talk about that again. But yeah, no, it's interesting. It was good to see more women entering the trucking world. But when I started, it was a very, very tough job. It was easier when I joined. I've met some of the old guys who've been driving 20, 30 years prior to me. You know, you got trucks without power steering. I did drive one of those once. They're really heavy. It's really hard work. And yeah.
That also, with a truck, is much harder trying to reverse, isn't it?
No.
Because, isn't it? Much harder than a car, isn't it?
No.
Well, if you've got a trailer, though.
It's much easier.
Oh.
Reversing a 40-foot truck and a tractor unit's much easier than a car. Much easier.
Oh, okay.
You look surprised.
Well, I thought it would be harder because...
I drove articulated trucks over 15, 20 years. Reversing an articulated truck is a lot easier than you think.
Oh, okay.
With a little bit of forethought and training, and if you're half decent and get qualification, no, I thought it was a lot easier.
Oh, right. I always thought it would be a lot harder because you're not just trying to steer the truck, you're trying to steer the trailer, which means sometimes to go left, you have to turn right, don't you?
Yeah, but once you've got some skills and you know how to do that, then it's good fun.
Oh, okay.
To sit in the car park. My favourite... Have I said this online before? My favourite activity was on my break, driving into a big motorway services, parking up for my break, 45 minutes to an hour of lunch and whatever, having a rest. My favourite thing in the world, in the summer, was watching the caravanners driving in. Now, they're quite long, caravan and a car, so they would often come into the truckers' park, and then they would park their caravan and car. And the thing is, after about 40 minutes of them not being able to reverse, they would then drive into a bay. Here's the problem. If you can't reverse into a bay, how are you ever going to reverse out of the same bay? And I would watch this repeatedly, and sometimes I'd have an extended break because I just wanted to see what they were going to do, because it was hilarious, genuinely, because they hadn't been trained how to reverse, and it was good sport. And you can see all these truckers in their cabs are sitting there, arms folded, feet up, cup of tea in one hand, watching this caravan not reverse. It's much easier to reverse a truck than you think.
Okay.
Because the wheels are furthest from you, so it steers less quickly. If you have a car with a standard, really tiny, short little caravan for your camping trip, okay? A couple of things. One, where the hitching point is at the back of the car to the axle of the trailer, it's only, 4 or 5 feet? If you lay down, you're probably going to be longer than the distance between the towing hitch of the car and the centre of the axle on the trailer.
Yeah.
Which means that it steers very fast. With a trailer, I mean, I drove, 44-ton trucks. We had 3 axles at the very back of the trailer. So when you turn your steering wheel to make the trailer turn, it turns very gently and slowly.
Oh, okay. Well, I suppose in a sense, a
That
truck...
sounded like I knew what I was talking about, didn't
It
it?
does, actually. Although I suppose...
Probably because I did.
I suppose in a sense, though, a truck is designed to carry a trailer.
Yes, it
A
is.
car it can carry a trailer. It's not necessarily its one sole purpose.
No, I mean, I'm glad there's training and stuff for people who want to drive a caravan. It's much better, but yeah. No, it was my favorite. I say that slightly shamefully, but my favourite sport was watching people not park their caravan to drive forwards into a parking bay and think, how are you ever going to reverse out of that? Because if you couldn't reverse in, what makes you think you can reverse out? Because isn't that the exact opposite of the thing that you just couldn't do?
I suppose, I don't know. I suppose in some way it can make sense. You think, I'll just park in there to begin with, and I'll face reversing later.
Yeah. Sometimes it was generally, most of the time, it was almost always the man that was driving the car. And then classically, the wife would get out of the car, and you could just see she's like, not doing it, and she'd disappear. She'd go for a coffee, I suppose, or a drink, while her husband was failing to park the car. That was very common too.
Okay.
Which I think was probably the best way of saving an argument. But it was good fun. But in fairness, if you've got a car with a really short trailer, it's much, much harder to reverse that.
Okay, well, I suppose if it's longer, you can see the back, can you?
It's further back. You've got better mirrors in a truck, of course. But the problem is with the car, it's because the axle is so close to the turning point, the hitching point on the car. So whenever you turn your steering wheel, it moves very rapidly.
Oh, okay.
So you have to have very gentle and very fast reaction. Whereas in a truck, you can kind of chuck it around a bit, and it's not really a biggie. Dan's favourite sport, watching people try to pack their cars when they bought so much stuff at IKEA. Yeah, that's quite good fun. Is it going to be a row? Is the bloke going to get the cabinet and smash it in two pieces to force it to fit? Yeah, IKEA.
What I actually sometimes find amusing, though, is when you see someone go to the supermarket with a huge van, and you see them do the shopping, and you think, are they going to put it in the back of the van? Just that little bottle of milk?
No, because it rolls around and gets smashed.
Oh, yes, good point.
Hey, do you know, you've not taken me on too many tangents today. That's good. Would you like to say goodbye to people? Because we've got about 60 seconds. If you're listening on Facebook and you're checking your time, you're thinking, we've got ages to go. No, there's a delay. Don't know why. Can't do anything about that.
Okay.
It's not the internet. Let's put it that way. That's very good.
Yeah.
Peter, would you like to say goodbye to people?
Goodbye. I've enjoyed myself, and not too many tangents from Andy B today, which is good.
No, you haven't, which is excellent. Next Friday, we won't be doing this because we'll be going to Yorkshire with Three Peaks. Yorkshire Walk with Adventure Plus from Oxfordshire. They'll be driving up. We'll be driving over to see them, meeting some of their lovely supporters. Stephen and Nathan will be doing a fundraising walk for us alongside Adventure Plus. So give them some love. Go to our fundraising page on the website, pure247radio.org, pure247radio.org, and donate some money to give them some encouragement. There's quite a lot of walking they've got to do. Send them some cash to give them some upbeated encouragement, okay? And it'll go towards the cost of operating Pure 24/7 Radio. Right, Peter, thank you very much for your time today. Hot chocolate was good.
Yes.
Not so many tangents, so you are getting better. We're going to have some news in a moment, then I'll come back and we'll have 3 for 3. But for now, here's the news. Right, thank you, Peter. Yeah. Shall we say goodbye to the lovely people on Facebook and YouTube? Thank you for joining us. I'll give you a little bit of Peter first. There's Peter. And here's me. Thank you for joining us. We will be back not on Friday for this. We will be live on Sunday. Family Focus, 4 o'clock, Jojo and I with the high-low game, where she will have spoken to Adam Holtz from Plugged In. It's Joe's time to chat to him this week. But yeah, that'll be Sunday, and we'll be live on Facebook and YouTube again on Sunday for the high-low game. So you can join us for that. But if you want to join me and Peter live, you have to wait till a week Friday.
Yes.
Which is fine. Right, we're going to say goodbye to you. Thank you for joining us and getting involved.